What is up, guys? It's been a hot minute. We are back up and running again. I'm going to talk about the first round of the playoffs. The Cowboys got a new coach and what's going on in the baseball world.
Been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
All right, so the Dallas Cowboys went the safe path, hired Mike McCarthy to be your saving grace.
I don't think it was a safe pass. I think it was who had the most experience out there, and I think if you weigh all the options and everything that's been going on and what you've been hearing, Mike McCarthy is probably the best option for us, and signed a 5-year deal.
Mike McCarthy obviously won 2010 Super Bowl. His last 4 years, he was 11, 16, and 1. Had one of the great quarterbacks in Aaron Rodgers. Sat out a year. I just saw that video, though, where, I guess, would you say sat out a year or just he didn't get a job for a year?
I don't know if no one was hiring him or not, but he took a break from football and actually spent family time. And
did you see that video?
Uh-huh.
Where he took his barn, he put TVs in there, he put all the playbooks in there, and he would take 3 coaches that were also not hired. And multiple days in the week, they were in there like a 9-to-5 job, studying old plays and thinking how to diagnose these new plays and how to. And what's funny is, you think about it, okay? He has to reinvent himself for this Dallas offense because this league is no longer a pocket passer league, okay? And you know why? Take the top 5 passing yard leaders this year. Dak Prescott, Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston, Jared Goff. Where are all those guys sitting right now?
Yeah.
They're sitting at home.
I heard a lot of talk about that, too.
Who's in the playoffs?
Who's
in the playoffs?
The
Lamar
top rushing
Jackson,
teams and stuff like that. But I heard a lot about that.
Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. A lot of those stats, they're padded, though. Like they were saying, a lot of those teams, they didn't have winning records. They were losing, so they had to throw the ball a lot. It's garbage time yardage. And, I have to agree with it. I mean, Let's face it, Dak had 4,900 yards passing, and he had to throw the ball a lot late in games to get us back into games when we were trailing by multiple touchdowns.
I think that he can't come in here and he can't make Dak a pocket passer. That he needs to use Dak's legs a little bit because let's be real, Dak's one of the most accurate quarterbacks outside the pocket.
Well, Mike McCarthy is not going to come in here and do stuff like that. He's going to bring his West Coast offense in here. That's what he's been doing. That's what he's known to do. They're going to tinker with what they did last year because they were one of the top offenses in the league last year. The thing that scares me though is all the people that they're replacing. I mean, you have Colombo, who's a great offensive line coach. Our offensive line was ranked in the top 10 in every category. Good rushing line. The running back coach is probably gone. Sanjay Laos, the receiver coach, is gone. Both the defensive coordinators are gone. There's a lot of good guys. Like no one knows what's going to happen with Kitna. I think Kitna did a lot to change what Dak has done with his footwork and everything else, and there's no talk about what's going to happen with him. And that's the scariest thing that's going on there because, like I said, to Noah and everyone else, it's not a matter of just getting rid of Jason Garrett. You're bringing in someone now who's bringing in his own whole crew. And like they talked about on 105.3 The Fan, I love him, I'm a Tolo.
Tolo.
A lot of those guys, it seems like, they all coach together at one point or another. And are they bringing them in because they're good coaches, or are they bringing them in because they owe them favors? Like Mike Nolan was the head coach of the 49ers. He brought McCarthy in to be the offensive coordinator, and now Mike McCarthy's another head coach. So I hope, because defensively there was better options out there. You had Marvin Lewis out there. You had Wade Phillips out there. You had other options out there that I think have more skins on the wall as far as better defenses than Mike Nolan.
Why I think this was a safe hire is you think about how fast Dallas hired a coach, which I was actually shocked that a lot of teams hired their coaches very fast. But they move on from Jason Garrett, and you have a couple options out there, You have college coaches. You have Myers. You have Lincoln Riley. You had the guy from Baylor. Yes, Myers would have been a high risk, but a high reward because wherever he's won. He probably could have came in with fire in that that locker room. But why?
Jerry Jones said from the start that when they started talking about coaching changes, he said from the start he does not want to learn on the job kind of a coach, which college football coaches are known to have to do.
I was going to say, with the team that Dallas has now on paper, this is a team that you need an experienced coach, because you don't want to bring a coach in here who hasn't even coached an NFL down yet and potentially, ruin that chemistry of the team and turn into a rebuilding team when your team's good on paper right now. So why it's a safe hire is you have a guy that has success. His resume is very good for Jerry Jones.
His resume matches Sean Payton's.
He's 13 years at Green Bay, went 125 wins, 77 losses, 2 ties. He's 10-8 in the playoffs. He's gotten the team to the playoffs. They won a Super Bowl in 2010.
4 NFC Championship games. He won the Super Bowl in Big D.
Only thing that worries me is when Brett Favre went down, when Aaron Rodgers went down, you didn't see him win, and that's where you get good coaches. Take a look at Sean Payton this year when Drew Brees went down. He was able to win not only with Teddy Bridgewater, but you change your scheme a little bit where you make players win.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that are saying that his offensive scheme got stale and everything in Green Bay, but there's a lot of big names out there that are coming up and standing up for him and actually defending him and saying it wasn't his style of football that got stale. Green Bay refused to get veterans in there. They always went with the draft, and you're always bringing in young players. So he couldn't expand his playbook. He always had to simplify everything for the younger talent that was there.
Well, they were also saying that it got to the point where, on Saturday walkthroughs, he was up getting massages.
That's
and
all
everything.
rumors, though.
I don't know if that's rumors.
That.
I'm just saying, he had a bad connection with Aaron Rodgers, and they started to lose. They weren't the good Green Bay. Well, look what happens the year after he leaves Green Bay. They get the number 2 seed.
Aaron Rodgers already messaged him. They were messaging back and forth, praising each other, congratulating him. So I'm saying if there was bad blood there, he wouldn't have been reaching out to him.
I think this was a good hire for Dallas. I think Urban Meyers would have been really cool, but I think with the team you have, you need to have an experienced coach to handle that. It would have been cool to see Urban Meyers because he coached Zeke and.
Well, the thing that scares me, though, is Mike Nolan. He's typical. Well, he was the Saints linebacker coach last year. They had great linebackers last year, great run defense. The thing that scares me, though,
defense in the league.
is what they're going to do. Are they going to switch to a 3-4? Dallas typically runs a 4-3 defense. Are they going to switch to a 3-4, which means we already have players on that team that are paid, like a DeMarcus Lawrence, who's an edge rusher. He wouldn't be an edge rusher in a 3-4.
And he is open to keeping Kellen Moore.
You would have Jalen Smith rushing from the corners, or Van Der Esch rushing from the corners. We have 26 possible free agents on the team. What direction are they going to go? I mean, we have a lot of holes to fill. We have a quarterback who doesn't have a contract. We have a number one on our team, a number 1 receiver who doesn't have a contract. We have a number 1 shutdown corner that doesn't have a contract. A lot of questions that have to be answered.
And why I say is that you can't hold Dak to be a pocket passer is you look how the game has evolved. You look at the Buffalo and the Houston game. Deshaun Watson won that game in overtime for them because he's able to extend the plays with his legs, and you see the big plays that happen. If you get Dak to move sometimes and open up those big plays, I mean, we've seen the way when Dak gets out of the pocket, how accurate he is and the plays that he has made. I'm not saying turn him into a Lamar Jackson. He can still do a pocket pass, but I think that you need to get him to move his legs a little bit more and get the defense on their toes.
Well, he said he's going to build this team, this offense around Dak. So he's going to make all the plays that he can make. But there's 77 years of experience now on his coaching staff in Dallas. So there's no more excuses. The coaches, and you can't say anything bad about anything now. Jason Garrett's gone. If things still act up the same, then you got to start looking at players. You got to start looking at quarterbacks. You got to start looking you got to start looking at the heart of the players. Is the heart really in it? And there's no more excuses. 2 years ago, the excuse was the offensive coordinator. He was gone. Made changes there. And now it's all on the table.
They cleared most of the coaches out, right? As soon as Garrett got fired.
Everyone's gone.
Garrett, I don't think Garrett technically he didn't get fired. They parted ways, right? I mean, his contract expired.
Yeah, his contract. No one really knows when it was up. It was either last Wednesday or it was just Wednesday.
What's weird is why have a contract expire when you potentially could have been in playoffs?
It just depends on when he signed the contracts.
Yeah,
but the thing is the Joneses were open with Jason Garrett and said they're going in another direction, and they talked about Mike McCarthy with him, and Jason Garrett had nothing but high praise from Mike McCarthy. That's the thing I like about Jason Garrett.
It's tough to say that, though.
And like Jerry Jones says, for 30 years, I have given the Garretts a paycheck. So that's got to be tough to fire someone that's been in the organization as a coach, as a player, as a quarterback coach for almost 30 years. Well, he was there for 20-plus years with his dad. But 30 years that family has
He's
been
played.
involved with the Cowboys.
He's coached.
Yeah.
That's probably tough to leave the state, honestly.
And honestly,
I mean, he's getting off. There's rumors of him going to the Giants and everything, and I wish him nothing the best. But
Well,
that is probably rough.
There was rumors that the Giants plane was in Dallas the other day. Now, is it to pick up Jason Garrett? Who knows? But again, it's tough because the coach is the first one that's going to fall. And honestly, there's a lot of stories that are coming out in the locker room where the linebacker coach got into a fight with Richard and
The new linebacker
Sanjay,
coach?
the old ones. The Sanjay Law, the receivers coach, didn't get along with Amari Cooper. A lot of stories are starting to come out now.
Is Chris Richard moving on, or are they bringing him back?
Chris Richard's already gone. But there's also, Jane Slater reported just yesterday that there's also images and video of players going up to Jason Garrett and basically telling him, F you, I don't have to listen to you. Jerry Jones told me I don't have to. There's a lot of stuff that's starting to come out.
And that's where I think that the Dallas situation will never be fixed if Jerry Jones is so involved, because you don't allow the coaches to put that fear in the players, because the players know at the end of the day they can easily walk up to Jerry Jones and have an all-day access where they can complain and just have a good day. And
I think
you shouldn't be able to do that.
No, I agree.
Because it's your coach. You shouldn't be able to. That's like me. That's like, say, like, you told me no, I can't do something, but I go to mom instead because I know she's gonna say yes.
Yeah, and that's what they actually compared it to today on the radio. So, and I think it's gonna change. And Jerry Jones came out and said things do have to change, and they're giving McCarthy, they're giving him the reins so he can actually pick his own staff, and they're already having meetings about the player personnel, and it's not just the Joneses, it's everybody. They're all in there talking about who they want, what they want to sign. The way it sounds now that they're bringing back Randall Cobb, there's nothing definite
I
yet.
think you have to bring him back
yeah,
the way he played. He was one of your better receivers this year.
There's a lot of rumors out there about letting Amari Cooper walk. Because this draft is loaded with at least 10 receivers who could go in the first round. Not saying they're all going to, but this draft is loaded.
Isn't he still?
No, he's a free agent, but he wants $17 to $20 million a year, which is going to put him on the Julio Jones, Michael Thomas scale range.
Doesn't
And
deserve it
I don't mean, don't get me wrong.
Good
there are
receiver,
stats out there from Pro Football Focus saying that he is a top five receiver, but
I wouldn't say he's top five receiver this year.
I do not want to see them spend $20 million on a guy like that when there's a lot of people that have to get signed on this team.
I think he still has some time to prove it. I don't think he's a top 5 receiver right now, maybe a top 10. That's another story for another day. But, I mean, this is a loaded draft. You still have Gallup. You still have Cobb you can bring back. There's still you could draft a guy to go in there.
But this is what the Cowboys have. They have a tough decision because they can't sign everyone.
Yeah, there's a lot of defensive players you have that need to be signed.
You have Byron Jones and you have Amari, who are the top two who they're talking about could be let go. And Pro Football Focus says that Amari Cooper, he has the size and the speed. And since 2019, when he came over to the Cowboys, he's one of the league's leader for deep receptions of 20-plus yards or more. And that's air yards. That's not short passes where he runs. And he has 15 of receptions of 20 yards plus for 503 yards. And since week 9 of 2018, when he joined Dallas, his receiving grade versus man coverage is 6th best in the NFL. He's behind Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Hopkins, T.Y. Hilton, Tyreek, and somebody else. And then 24 explosive plays. He has 43 of them, and 43 of them are for first downs. And he ranks 1st and 5th amongst these players listed above. And his stats, home and away, that's what kills him.
Yeah, he's different on the way.
Yeah.
He's quiet.
That's the only thing that really kills him. That's the thing that
sucks is he's not consistent. That's what you saw when he was in Oakland. He wasn't a consistent receiver. And you need to be consistent in order to get paid big bucks.
And they said from the slot position, he's 2nd best, only behind Michael Thomas.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on in Dallas. The wild card happened this week. It was a little disappointing for me. But we'll start with the Eagles. They lost to Seattle. Carson Wentz, unfortunately, went down with about 2 minutes left in the first quarter, so that was a little disappointing. Do you think that Clowney hit was a dirty hit?
I mean, there's a fine line there. It depends how you look at it. the rules state that when a quarterback breaks the pocket and he runs and he doesn't slide, he's considered a runner. Do I think he was going to the ground and he shouldn't have been hit? Absolutely. That hit there reminded me of Tony Romo, how he ended his career. He was playing Seattle. He actually slid and got nailed from behind.
First of all, I just pictured that. Could you just imagine sliding just...
Yeah.
My thing on this is, first of all, I wanted to read this Eagle source too. When I heard this, it was crazy. They said, this is an inside Eagle source who is with Carson Wentz in the medical tent and everything else. And they said minutes after Wentz was hit, Carson's concussion is really bad. This is them talking like over the radios and everything. He can't remember anything bad, so he didn't even remember that play. And when he went into the medical tent, he was literally swaying back and forth. I don't think Clowney is a dirty player. I think that it's tough to say that it's tough to say this is a dirty hit. But when you watch this play, I understand Carson Wentz is an agility. He's an athlete. He's running for the first down, but. And in the fast-paced environment like that, Clowney is the type of player that, like, okay, this guy's run. I want to hit him. I want to hit him hard. You know, when you have the chance to hit the quarterback, you want to hit him hard. But when you can clearly see he's diving, I can understand you hit him, okay? But you can literally see the way that Clowney's coming down. Like, he's going, like, you can tell when someone's tackling, someone's aiming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's literally, like, it's like a spear coming helmet to helmet and back. And you know you can hit in the back of the head. That's an easy place to knock someone out.
You know, and I don't want to act like...
And let's be real, is that going to get fined? That's going to get fined, 100%. Especially the way they protect the quarterbacks.
But my thing is how can you get fined if they don't throw a flag and call it a penalty? Usually you get... But that's not right. And that's where the NFL needs to clean it up.
In a league where they're protecting quarterbacks, you know they're going to fine him. I mean, look at how many people get fined without even getting without getting flagged.
Yeah. My whole thing is... It looks worse when they slow it down. But at full speed,
it does.
You know, it just looks like a quarterback who's running and he's diving. He's not on the ground. And of course, when Clowney leaves his feet, how can you stop yourself from making contact? But when you slow it down, and does it look like he's trying to hurt him? I don't know if I can't read his mind. But,
I don't think
but
he's
he
trying
looks
to
like
hurt
he's
him.
trying to spear him into the ground.
It looks like he's leaning with the helmet really hard. What you got to give credit? You got to give credit to though. Is the 40-year-old McCown who came out and he tried to play his heart out. First time ever in a playoff game.
He played hurt too with a ripped hamstring.
So second half of the game, torn hamstring. He actually has to get surgery on it. This guy played his heart out. First ever playoff game. You think this guy coaches back in North Carolina? He was with the NFL, analytics stuff, whatever he was doing. Comes out of retirement and is the backup quarterback. They have nobody but a backup receiver then at that point to do the emergency quarterback. He went 18 for 24 with 174 yards passing, no touchdowns. But a 40-year-old man, imagine you going right now out to the Eagles game and playing this guy was scrambling. He was literally putting it was emotional too to watch his post-game interview. He's crying. First time ever in a
He's had a great career.
He talks about how he's put his family through a lot. You know, he's been on like 10 teams. He put it all on the line. First ever playoff game. There's probably a lot of emotion. You're playing with it. And you know at 40 years old, running with a torn hamstring. I mean, I would be in pain.
You know what? Going back to the Wentz thing just real quick. You know what they should do? They should do like they do in college football, where they can buzz down and say, man, double check that hit. And they can check for targeting. And if it is targeting, you get suspended
or ejected.
Yeah, you get ejected from that game, and you can't play into the next game until that quarter. You know what? They say you get ejected in the first quarter. You can't come back to the second quarter of the next game. Mm-hmm. It's just like college football. Mm-hmm. But then on this, you give them a fine as well. Mm-hmm. I think if you did that and you had the referee up there and they slowed it down and they looked at it several times, I think there would have been a penalty, and I think there would have been an ejection.
Yeah.
But I know the Eagles fans are really pissed off. Angelo Catoni was flipping out about it.
You think about that was the whole story of the Eagles this year. Injuries.
And a part of me, I feel really bad for Carson Wentz because
I like Carson Wentz.
He took a depleted team, and on that last 4 games of the season, he went on a pretty decent run, and he beat some good teams.
That month of December, they played well.
To the playoff. I mean, I was sitting here talking to you, and I said, man, this has the smell of a couple years ago when they went on that magical run. And
we could take
you never know, but I'll tell you right now, concussions, man, that's scary, especially when he has memory loss. That's bad. I know we went through with Nolan when he got his playing baseball. it's a really scary thing. And they say your second, your third one could be a lot worse. So this is something they have to worry about as far as his career goes.
You could take a low blow with the Eagles there and be like, Carson Wentz can never stay healthy.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I'm just
but
kidding.
my thing is like him, and I talk about Lamar Jackson too. These and Deshaun Watson. These are quarterbacks that take risks. They need to learn to slide. If you watch Russell Wilson,
Lamar goes in a different way. He comes in like a receiver.
But if you watch Russell Wilson in that game, he slides a lot
because
he protects himself.
You know why? Because if I was on defense and a quarterback is scrambling and I know I have a chance, my first chance ever to really hit this guy, I'm laying it down to. I'm laying to smack it down to him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit him. But there wasn't many passing touchdowns. Russell Wilson had one. A lot of rushing touchdowns, but DK Metcalf had 7 receptions for 160 yards and a touchdown.
That was a great rookie game right there.
Great rookie game. You see when he caught the last pass of the game. Put the peace sign up.
My thing is, I thought that was going to be a blowout game. I mean, I didn't pick the Eagles to win that game by all, and I didn't even know. That Wentz got hurt until Reinhardt. I talked to him about it. I was messaging him, but I figured that game was going to be a blowout. But it was actually closer than I thought.
Well, I was at the gym blowing some steam off from the Saints game.
Yeah.
And then I saw on the TVs that Wentz was out and McCown was in. But I mean, it was a good game. I'm rooting for Seattle this week. We'll go into the Saints lost to the overtime Vikings.
But the Texans, they got their first win after going 0-22 and trailing by 16 points or more. They got their first win. Deshaun Watson, he evaded 2 defenders.
That play was
to set
amazing.
up that game-winning field goal. Watson was 20 of 25 for 247 yards, a touchdown.
And that right there is an example.
But he was sacked 7 times.
That's an example of a quarterback that if you can move your legs and extend these plays, stuff's going to happen.
That's the thing that's going to hurt them going forward. That sack 7 times against.
Traded their best offensive lineman to, oh God, what was it? No, just kidding. They got Tunzel from Miami. But they need some offensive line help. But
they're going to Kansas City now, and it's going to be a tough game. And, Kansas City's defense, no one's talking about them. But
Kansas City is a quiet team this year.
I think their defense has only been giving up about 15 points a game.
I truly wish they were in the NFC because I would love to see Kansas City versus Baltimore. I think that would be an amazing game to see in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But the Saints lose the Vikings in overtime. Can we say pass interference? Can we get an opinion on that?
That's the new rivalry, man. That's the new rivalry.
And let's be real. At the end of the day, it's tough to say, like, oh, I really wish that was called. Because at the end of the day, the Saints didn't play like a 13-3 team until the fourth quarter. And there's a lot of people already saying, here we go again, the Saints are going to use this as an excuse. But I listened to a lot of people on ESPN talk about this, and that is clearly pass interference. And the way that they talked about this and the way how quick this was reviewed, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense.
But you know what?
You know what the definition of pass interference is? This guy, Rudolph, P.J. Williams is covering him, full extension. P.J. Williams, you can see, is trying to grab him in the back because at full extension, when you create that separation between a D-back and he's in tight end, that's pass interference. That's pass interference. It should have been able to been reviewed and called. It would have been 4th down. They would have kicked the field goal, and it would have gave us a chance in overtime. And can we please change the overtime rules? It is such a stupid thing.
We're going to get into that then, too. But the XFL came out with their rules, and their rules are amazing.
And I'm not saying that that's why the Saints lost. But it is so depressing as a fan. Okay, my team lost the coin toss. There's an 80% chance now we aren't getting the ball. Because
but you have to understand something though. The Saints played their worst game possible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher.
You got to give your hat off to the Vikings.
They haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 42 straight games, but the Vikings dominated the first half. They had 84 yards rushing in the first half.
And that's really what it was.
Drew Brees only had 208 yards passing. He had 1 touchdown. He threw a pick and he fumbled. There was no run game. Kamara had 8 rushes for 34 yards, or 21 yards rushing. He only had 8 receptions for 34 yards. And Michael Thomas, what did I tell you? If
70 yards
somebody shuts down Michael Thomas,
shut down.
7 for 70. That's not his good stats.
You know what struggled for us is our offensive line struggled bad, and they did not give Drew Brees time to throw the ball. But if I had to pick one player to have the most disappointing year this year, it would be Alvin Kamara.
The Saints have 26 regular season wins over the past 2 seasons, only led to 1 playoff win. They now lost their 2nd straight playoff game at home. What's going to happen? Is it becoming a point now where people are saying Sean Payton is the regular season king but can't win in the playoffs?
Watching that game, what's funny is I've seen this so many times. Watching that game, the first half, I was like here we go. Like we look flat. It's like we don't get hyped up. Like, you would think you're at home, you're in the dome, the crowd is on your side, you're 13-3, you're playing a Kirk Cousins who in that game struggled accuracy-wise. I mean, obviously that last play was a dime, but he was 19 for 31. Okay, not a good passing percentage there. You have a good defense, number 1 rush defense in the league, and it's just like, where's the offense? Like, our defense played well. Like, obviously we gave some bad plays, some bad deep passes, but we held the Vikings. We stayed in that game.
Well, you know what's sad? The Vikings limped into the playoffs. They're going 2-5 since week 12. They had 2 straight losses to end the season.
Best player for the Saints was Taysom Hill. 50 rushing yards, 50 passing yards,
But
25 receiving yard touchdown, and he blocked for a touchdown for Alvin Kamara to sneak in.
But my thing is Sean Payton, and I know he just signed an extension. Is he becoming like Mike McCarthy, stale? You know, he's winning the regular season, but the playoffs they just don't get it done.
I still will take him just because he's got a great offensive mind.
And I even said to you, Ty, I said to you, if the Saints get beat over the top, it's going to open up the run game, and it did. I mean, first of all, you got to give hats off to Thielen. That catch at the end of the game, amazing.
Well, what sucks is Marshawn Lattimore gets his ankle rolled over. Next play, 40-yard pass. And I threw the controller down. I said, it's game. Because I knew somehow they were going to get in. You know, we stopped him 2 times, and it's 3rd down, and the whole pass.
You know, Drew Brees, he's a free agent. Tom Brady, he's a free agent. Teddy Bridgewater, he's a free agent. Dak Prescott, he's a free agent. A lot of big quarterbacks out there.
What made me mad is, Al Rivera, whatever his name is, the guy that always does the reviews. Like, you know how, like, Troy could be talking, they'll bring him in. And he said, there's contact with both players, but none of that contact rises to the level of a foul. This is consistent with what we've done all year. We left the ruling on the field, and we let it stand. What's stupid about that is,
make that call.
You did do the same thing all year. Trash. First of all, why have one guy review replays anymore? Okay,
there's got to be a guy up in the booth. I'm sorry, you can't have New York depend on New York to make the calls.
They made this rule change, and it was probably the worst thing they've ever done. Like, I'm not saying this rule's stupid. It's just they have done a terrible job. You think with all, and then they're like, all the angles were sent to us. It clearly wasn't passing. They're getting ripped for that. Do you know how many Fox reporters and analyzers and everything are saying, like, you can, like, how can you not?
It was clearly.
It's not as clear as obviously the Rams game. But with all those angles, and for how quick, there was the Saints players were still on the field when the refs left because they thought they were still reviewing the video. That's how quick they reviewed it.
Well, it's got to change. I mean, the XFL just came out. They're starting their season in a couple of weeks, February 8th. They just came out with their overtime. No coin toss. Everyone, it's going to be like a shootout in hockey. They get 5 possessions, I think it's 1 possession, but 5 of them. You get 1 play, 5 possessions. To try to score from the 5-yard line. So you go back and forth like a hockey game, like shootouts. So
Whoever
the first round you get 5 1-play possessions each team. If it ties again, then you get 1 play, 1 possession, and you go back and forth till one team scores and one doesn't. Yeah. That is awesome. That is going to have people locked in until the very end.
How I think the overtime should be is just like college. What do you start? The opposing 25? And you have 1 possession, you have 1 set of downs to score.
But see, the XFL, no field goals.
Okay.
No field goals. You get a play from the 5-yard line. You try to score 1 play. And then the other team comes out, they get a shot. You go back and forth until all of these have 5 shots at it. And then whoever wins that with the most, like whoever has the most points, wins.
They probably they probably won't have to do all 5 like in hockey. Like, say I get 3 and you get 1. It's like, okay, I clearly won.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I love that.
Yeah,
I mean,
cool.
That's going to make it interesting.
And, like, to those that are Vikings fans, I'm not saying that this pass interference would have won us the game. Hats off to the Vikings. They played an amazing game. They came into the Dome and they played like a good team.
But they're hurt now. They're hurt. Thielens hurt. The cornerback's hurt. They're limping in and out for the next round.
What's really just upsetting with me is I really wish that they would change the overtime rules. I understand that's like, okay, it's going to be a challenge. Your defense has to stop them. We changed it so that they kick a field goal. You still get a chance. But let's be real. That's nothing anymore. With how fly the offenses are in the league anymore, you got to give both teams a chance to make it exciting. It's not fair. With Kansas City and the Patriots. Kansas City came back, didn't even get a chance.
Yes. And how could you have an offensive battle like that and let it end with 1 possession?
They need to change that. It's frustrating because it's not even fun to watch as a fan because as soon as they got to the 30, I'm like, okay, like I don't even want to watch this anymore because I know that our secondary's been struggling all year. They're going to score. Marshawn Lattimore's out of the game now. And it's just like, give Drew Brees a chance. Get the entertainment up. I'm not saying we would have scored, but Drew Brees, that fourth quarter, they were hot.
Wow.
And what sucked, what was so crushing, is watching Drew Brees drive down the field with 2 minutes left. I'm like, here we go. We're going to score. We'll be up by more than a field goal. Our defense is going to stop him. And he fumbles the ball.
Well, I was concerned when the last possession for the Minnesota,
Vikings, when he fumbled?
when they were running, and I was like,
man.
what are you just doing, man? They're not even trying to kill the clock.
When he fumbled, man, I jumped up and I was pounding I was so excited. And then I saw that his knee was down. I was like, oh, God, Lord, please just give me a chance here.
Well, the best thing of the weekend was the New England Patriots were eliminated, which means we're going to get someone new in the Super Bowl.
Will Tom Brady be back in Foxborough next year?
I don't know. A lot of rumors out there. But anyway, there's a lot of relief out there because it's not going to be the Tom Brady and Belichick show in the Super Bowl for the first time.
There's a lot of teams in there that I'm
time.
very excited. Like Tennessee would be cool to see get in there. Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. Houston. I mean, I don't know who to root for. Honestly, I don't want to see Vikings, 49ers, or Green Bay go. I'm sorry, Rudy. I don't want to see any of those three teams go.
That was the Patriots' earliest playoff exit since 2009 when the Ravens beat them. Ryan Tannehill, 8 of 15 for 72 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick.
You know who the monster was?
That is the second lowest passing yards in the playoff. The first lowest was 35 yards by the Baltimore Ravens to beat the New England Patriots.
You know how the Titans are going to go far? Give the ball to the beast.
Oh, yeah. That was his birthday. 26th birthday. He freaking rushed for 180-plus yards.
This man is built like a defensive end.
Yeah.
He's bigger than Shannon Sharp. They were saying that on the TV. He's bigger than Shannon Sharp, but runs like a 4.3 or something like that. Could you imagine a defensive end body running? At one point at the end of the game...
Well, he's 6'3", 247 pounds.
At one point at the end of the game, the one Patriots cornerback ran the opposite way, waiting for him to get towards the sideline so he can push him. Because imagine you're the free safety and this man's wide open field with you.
Now, he had 100 yards rushing in the first half. The close out the half, he carried the ball 5 times for 50 yards. He had 182 yards. It's the second most in NFL history. The only other player that beat him was Bo Jackson in 1987 on his 25th birthday. He ran for 221 yards against the Seattle Seahawks on Week 12.
He's going to get paid. You think about the running backs in this league: Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, Mack. These guys that are like Lewis. Like they're smaller guys and they're quick. And then you have a Derrick Henry, who is just a monster, a guy that's going to get paid. There was obvious running plays where the Patriots were even like lining the gaps up, and this guy was carrying 3 players for first down on one carry. Another first down. Like they couldn't stop him.
There was a guy back in the day when I was your age. His name was Christian Okoye. He played for Kansas City. Nobody could touch him. No. The guy was a tank. He was bigger than Henry. And when he ran right at you, right up the gut. And he dragged people. Yeah. People were afraid to hit him.
Well, what's that movie with Adam Sandler in the football? Do you know Longest Yard?
Yeah.
You know how the great Khali walks in the game and he's carrying 4 guys on his back and runs in the end zone? Yeah. That's what I pictured. He's going to get paid. I'm rooting for the Titans. I really am. Tannehill, what an amazing year he had. Best in his career. And the fact that their second half of the season was like a light just went underneath them. And they beat the Patriots. I have an amazing stat.
In the playoffs, the quarterbacks, you have Tannehill, you have Breeze, you have Rodgers, you have Wilson, you have Jimmy G, Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Watson, Cousin, Wentz. Combined,
great set
and
of quarterbacks.
And Tannehill, combined, they have 26 playoff wins. Tom Brady alone has 30 by himself.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Of all those quarterbacks, of Allen, Tannehill, Wentz, Cousins, Jackson, Watson, Mahomes, before this weekend, they only had 1 win combined between all of them. Yeah. Now it's 3, obviously, because Tannehill and Watson won. But, it's actually 4 because Cousins won too. So combined between 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks, they only had 1 win.
It's crazy.
But Tom Brady alone, just crazy what his stats are.
I feel bad for Tom Brady because if you look at it, he had a weak staff this year. You have an injured Julian Edelman who's playing through injury all year. You have a 2019 first-round pick that was injured most of the year. You have a disappointment in Sanu who dropped a lot of passes. There was a lot of hype when they got traded. Did nothing for them. If they're going to keep Tom Brady, okay, you have a 40-year-old tight end and Ben Watson who couldn't really do anything. If you want Brady to stay, you got to get some offensive help in there for him.
Yeah.
Because I think, in my opinion, Brady's leaving.
Well, there was a lot of speculation about Tom Brady leaving, and they're saying that the Cowboys should trade Dak Prescott away for like a first and a second or 2 firsts and bring Brady in for 2 years, draft a quarterback with one of those picks, and then start the 4-year process over again with a rookie quarterback so you don't got to spend $40 million on him.
Why not? Listen, man, he has had 21 seasons with the Patriots. They haven't had talks since August. The team would take on a $13.5 million in dead cap space if he doesn't sign by March 18th. Now, there's a lot of people saying that he'll go to the Tennessee Titans, even though I don't think that's going to be true because I think they're talking about extending Tannehill to a max contract. But him and Mike Vrabel are one of the best. They're best friends. And then, you've Derrick Henry, led the NFL in running back and rushing this year. You have some fire in the receivers.
Yeah.
It looks like a good team for Tom Brady. But then also you think there's rumors of him going to the Chargers. He has California roots there. He trains there.
But there was rumors today that Bill Belichick came out and said that he wants Carson Palmer to be the next quarterback at New England if Tom Brady leaves. He said he can win with a quarterback like Carson Palmer.
That's interesting.
Anyway, I was BSing
That's
with Rudy
very
through the whole game before McCarthy was signed by the Cowboys, and I kept saying to him, Zimmer's going to lose, and he's going to go to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But they won, and Zimmer came out and said 13 years as an assistant in Dallas was enough for him.
That's crazy. Panthers just got their new coach. They signed Matt Rhule to
Matt
7
Rhule.
years, $60 million. $60 million. He did spend 1 year in the NFL.
Could go up to 70.
He spent 1 year in the NFL in 2012 as the offensive line assistant for the New York Giants. But he has a reputation for turning programs around, and we saw that with Baylor and Temple. Do you want me to keep going? I was giving you a chance to jump in.
Yeah.
No, I'll keep going. I got some more
I'll
stuff.
tell you what, Matt Rhule played this whole thing right because he had the Giants think he was coming there. He actually was going to interview with I think he did interview with the Giants.
I think he had a plan, but
he
then
went to Carolina.
But then Carolina interviewed, and he said it was such an amazing. They made him feel so important.
But he made it out to Carolina. He was going to go back to the Giants, and they made him that deal.
Now the Carolina Panthers, they've never hired a collegiate coach ever.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are bashing this signing.
Now he's turned a lot. I mean, you think turning Temple around, that's got to be tough. Temple usually sucks, but he had Baylor.
Sorry, Jarvis.
I'm sorry, Jarvis. I'm just spitting the truth out. But he turned Baylor into like a win. I think they won 11-3 or something. He's turned Temple around. They went to the playoffs for Temple. I mean, has a good resume for a college coach to come in and turn something around. I mean, Carolina's rebuilding right now. I mean, they don't know if Cam Newton's going to be back in time with this injury. That's if they even trade him or not. You have a young wide receiver core. I mean, what better thing if you're going to rebuild? Might as well try something new.
I'll tell you what, the guy that got screwed out of this whole entire process this year was McDaniels from New England.
Yeah.
And I think this has to do with the
He might go to
owners
the Browns,
getting revenge on what he did to the Indianapolis Colts. He had the job signed. They're going to have a press conference, and he told him no.
Can you imagine that?
He was supposed to interview with the Giants. He had plans to go to the Giants, and then they signed Joe Judge, who was the special teams coach for New England.
The wide receivers coach.
He was supposed to, and he's a special teams coach too. He was supposed to interview with Carolina. They screwed him out of that job by signing Matt Rhule. So I think the league was kind of giving it back to him a little bit.
That is messed up. There's rumors that he might go to the Browns.
Yeah, I would not want to be the coach there.
I would want to be the coach. At the same time, I wouldn't, though, because they fire everybody after a year.
Well, not to mention, they fired their GM, and then they said they were going to hire a coach first so the coach could help hire the new GM,
It should be the
which
other
is
way around.
weird. Absolutely.
I
so
still-
they're giving all the control to the coach, which is crazy.
I'm still shaking my head at that because I thought John Dorsey did a great job in getting talent in that. I mean, you think about the 2 years that he's done there.
But I think that if anyone does go there, I think that McDaniels is an offensive mind. He's done a lot of good work with New England, so he could do a lot of good things with the weapons he has there in Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns, the only thing they got to do is they got to slap Baker Mayfield in the mouth a few times, settle him down with his attitude, and get an offensive line, and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Comment? No comment.
No comment, really. I mean,
Well, the Giants, like I said, they signed Joe Judge, and I liked he came out today and he said that it's going to be basically he wants these players to go out there and play a hard 60 minutes, smack people in the mouth, and that if he feels like you're not good enough to be on the field, he's not going to play you, which is awesome.
I like that.
I love it. I
think the Giants need a good turnaround. I think you need to give Saquon Barkley the ball more. I think that you give them a year or two, they're going to be competing in that division. They might even compete next year. I think if Shepard stays healthy, I think if Ingram stays healthy, especially because he showed signs of very good potential. Jones looks good at quarterback. You got to get Saquon in there more. You got to.
The thing that's horrible is in the last 5 years, the Giants are 31st in wins. Cleveland's the only team behind them, so they got to definitely turn it around. There's only one way they can go is up. Yeah. You only have one team behind you in wins, and that's Cleveland. So there's only one way. And I think they're going to be better. I really do. I think they're going to be a lot better with the minds that they're bringing in there.
I'm really, really excited for football to be over because I want to see where Eli goes. I want to see what happens with Drew Brees. He's technically a free agent, and every year he says to the media, I'm going to evaluate
it's too
the
late
year,
in his career.
And if I like it, I will keep going. Listen, I think he's coming back too, but for some reason, I got a feeling he's going to shock everybody and just say, hey, I'm done. I'm giving it to Teddy.
You know, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. And I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be there next year. I think
Teddy wants to be there.
I
think if Brees stays, he's going to leave, obviously.
You got to give it to Hill. Hill's got to be your next quarterback there. I mean, that guy has done everything but kick the damn ball. He deserves to start.
Listen,
Taysom Hill's amazing.
I've liked Taysom Hill for the past 3 years. Listen, when you see a guy go up and you know that he's going to do that run play with Alvin Kamara, and he changes the play, and he threw a 50-yard bomb to Harris.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Brees can't throw the ball. Brees can throw the ball. But Taysom Hill, man, he throws that ball like a rocket.
It's just for some, I don't know what it is. Like it seems like whenever they get to the playoffs, Drew Brees turns into another
What bothered me is
player.
When he threw that interception, what bothered me is you're driving, it's third down. Yeah, you got nothing going. Ted Ginn, 2 guys with him the whole time. And Drew Brees was like, I thought I had him open over top. But if you watch that play, there's no window at all. And it's almost like he just threw up a ball and was praying. You know, God, come on, just make something happen here. Like, and that bothered me because, like, okay, you could have punted the ball and pinned them in, but now they picked the ball and ran for 30 yards, and they're about to score again. So it was frustrating to watch. You know, at the end of the day, I can't control the team, so it's whatever.
It is what it is. But we move on to the next round.
I'm ready for New York baseball. I'm trying to go to my first game this year.
Yeah.
I'll get like one of those recorders. And I'll try and get down there. BP. Hey, Aaron Judge, you want to get on the Everything Goes podcast? You know, this is
Is that our?
How's hitting out there going?
Is that our twist? Is that our spin? Is that what we're doing? We're going into the baseball's notes now.
We can go into baseball notes if you like, because Boston Red Sox are cheaters, and we don't like Boston Red Sox in this household because they used replay rooms to steal the signs in 2018. And isn't it in 2018 where they beat the Yankees?
Yeah.
Why is it kind of like a pinball, a spinning machine here, where it's like every time someone comes out that they're cheating and they won the World Series, it was against the Yankees to go to the next round. But from 3 anonymous people who were on the Red Sox in 2018, the Boston players would visit the replay room to decipher their opponent's science sequence and then relay the information to the dugout. Somebody from the Red Sox dugout would then communicate with a base runner who would use body movements to relay pitch information to the batter, which we've done. We have done that.
We've done it.
We've done, but see now, we do it the right way. Say like I'm on second base and the catcher's legs are wide open, clear as day, and I can read his signs all day. I might give a little sign to my batter like, hey, a fastball's coming here. But the fact that they're using the replay room and they're zooming in on the catcher's crotch and you know, deciphering their signs and somehow relaying them back to the coaches, and then someone's relaying it out to the base runner. That's a lot to have. You got to be quick with that.
They're going to be in trouble, especially because Alex Cora, he's tied in.
With the Astros. So you're basically saying that he cheated at the Astros and brought it over to Boston, and he cheated there too.
So he could be the mastermind behind the whole plan. You know what's sad is I had all these notes written down, and I wasn't done with them. I threw them out. I'm trying to find them now.
Interesting. I'm not switching subjects here, but the Astro decision is also coming soon, and they're saying
it's going to be a major.
They're saying the players aren't going to be affected. The employees of the team will be disciplined. That's including the front office and on-field coaching personnel. It's going to be general manager Jeff, I don't know how to say his last name, manager AJ Hinch, and other front office members. The team could also face a record fine, which I believe will be a big fine. You think of all the cheating?
I still think the punishment should be no home games for a whole season. I mean,
that's
I
tough
understand
though,
the schedule's already out.
If some of the players, they know that sucks because that takes time away from their family.
So what? I don't care. You know
I
what?
got a heart.
That's fine. But you have to have a very, really strict rule, and you have to have a really strict punishment. I mean, what are you going to do? Suspend the coach and the GM for a year? What's that going to do?
I said
you think these people still aren't going to have any conversations with what's going on?
I said they should be able to have home games, but nobody can buy tickets. They won't make money. They won't make any money.
But
No one's watching it.
That makes no
And
sense. Then
no-
you're gonna have people
I haven't-
fighting to get in the stadium the whole 9 yards, and they're still gonna make money off concessions. You can't give away free food.
No. Like nobody can come watch the game. Like they can't come in the stadium.
Uh,
You know how Baltimore locked their stadium out because of everything that was going on outside of it, and they just didn't have a game.
Yeah.
You're not making money. You're not selling food. You're not selling tickets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's going to be interesting, and I'm sure it's going to be a heavy fine, and I'm sure the GM's going to be suspended. I'm sure they're going to lose draft picks or something like that. I'm sure AJ Hitch is going to get suspended or something. I'm sure the owner is going to get a big slap. But what happens to Boston now? That's my question.
Boston should get fined too. And I know we got a lot of Boston fans that listen to this podcast. We hate Boston here.
Mookie Betts should have rethought about that arbitration thing.
$27 million for 1 year. Lindor just signed a 17-point-something one, too, also. But 27 made history. And I was saying today, there needs to be a luxury cap. There really does.
Why?
I just saw that the Dodgers just settled with Bellinger.
Why? Why does it be a luxury cap?
Because
If you look at it last
What's
year,
crazy
half
is-
the teams with the highest payroll weren't even in the playoffs.
no, like, it's not even that. It's just like, you think about every year how it's bigger and bigger. And it's like, I love baseball. But at what point do we say these athletes are getting paid too much?
That's the one. You know what? They are where they are. But you know what? The Yankees just spent $300+ million on one pitcher. That's not guaranteeing.
Yeah, but he's
them a
not
World
getting
It's
27
not-
in 1 year.
It doesn't matter. It's not guaranteeing them a World Series.
I know, but it's just... Now, the Cubs, I saw, came to arbitration with Chris Bryant, too, but I believe that they're still trying to trade him.
Yeah, they're gonna dump him.
But I don't know why they want to dump him, too. I don't think they like him for some
They're
reason.
just trying to go in a different direction.
But a big
Starlin
new...
Castro, he signed a 2-year deal, a $12 million deal with the Washington Nationals.
And they just got Eric Thames as the first backup first baseman because he can be sharing time with Howie
And
Kendrick.
There was rumors about him coming back to the Yankees, and I would take him. He batted .270.
I liked
22
him with
home
the
runs,
Yankees.
86 RBIs last year. He declined $16 million to stay with the Marlins. You know, he's got a decent career, 10
Wait.
years. The Marlins offered him $16 million to stay.
But he stated he went with the
He
Nationals
turned it down.
instead.
He's going to the Nationals.
Because
He's
he wants
10
to
years
win.
into the career, and he's got a 280 overall batting average, 133 home runs, 636 RBIs.
I just want to say that I'm petting my little pet right now, by the way. You know, we talked about Tim Tebow last year.
Yeah.
Just got another invite to spring training.
Good. He sucks anyway.
He's a good player.
Azubal Cabrera, he signed a 1-year, $2.5 million deal to stay with the Nats.
Can we
Yeah.
please talk about how somehow the Texas Rangers are making big splashes this year, even though they're technically in a rebuilding year, and now they are possible suitors for Arenado
That would be
after they
big for
got
them.
Bauer.
That would be big for them.
Yes, it'd be really big for them because, like we talked about last year, they were supposed to have a terrible season.
Lance
bunch
Lynn,
of
Mike Leiner, Corey Kluber.
bunch of no-namers, and they had a pretty decent record.
Yeah, they were pretty good until they had that losing streak halfway to the end of towards the end of the season.
And now
But
you're talking about possibly getting Arenado. That's a big pickup. You'll have him locked in for a good couple of years. Then you got Joey Gallo out there with him, too. That's two big sluggers right
I
there.
think Joey Gallo just got $4 million in arbitration today, too. Yes? No? I think yes.
Can we get our stat guy to check that? Do we have a
No.
stat guy yet?
Stat guy, you got it? Okay, good. Yes, $4 million in arbitration today.
Good.
Gary Sanchez got a arbitration deal, too, I believe. I think it's for $6 million, if I'm not mistaken. He was making like 600-some thousand last year. The next big deal, let's face it, it's going to be Judge. Judge is going to be a lot.
Judge is getting paid like no money. So
Yeah, I think he's in arbitration this year, too. I think the Yankees have 9 players in arbitration this year. And arbitration sucks if you don't make a deal because they basically can bash you like they did with Dylan Betances that 1 year. Remember? It got real salty and bad.
that was last year.
Yeah.
That was last year. I told you he was gone.
But let's jump to baseball's going to be kicking it off soon in February. Spring
Can't wait.
catchers and pitchers will be reporting soon. Nothing really else to talk about as far as the
Baseball,
Yankees.
there's not a lot going on in baseball. There's a lot of rumors going around.
Yankees
But
signed another pitcher.
Let's get your hot minute. Let's get your hot minute hockey.
No. First, let's go to basketball. How about Joel Embiid the other day? His fingers were going the wrong way. Yeah, I mean, that was disgusting. I seen it live. It was almost threw up. I mean,
So I've seen that in person.
I mean-
When I was playing baseball, the guy on our team, he slid into first base and he was safe, but when we were shocked because he got up yelling time to the blue, and when he stuck his hand up, instead of an L, It looked like a square.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
but something like that, see, that's not always a bad thing because
he had hand surgery
if
today.
if it's okay, then that's bad. But for him, in that instance, all his finger did was pop out. It's easy to pop your finger back in.
It was
at the
gross
doctors.
because his hand was straight like this, but his middle finger was facing like on a 90, like he was pointing at someone on the sideline.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? They just put it back in place. They put a splint on it. He played the rest of the game. But he had hand surgery, so he's going to be out for a week or two, and they're going to reevaluate him. Sixers need help. They really do. They need shooting help. And there's possibilities.
Harris can't do it all, and there's not a lot of shooter. And what bothers me is our whole team will line up on the 3-point line like we can shoot. We can't.
No, I think they got to play Trey Burke more. He's been shooting like over 50% from 3-point range.
We've been saying that. Well, get the coach on the line.
Yeah.
We want Trey Burke in. Michigan boy. We want him in there. Get him hot. He got hot with the Knicks. He can shoot.
But
you know who I saw we should go after? Let's go after Seth Curry.
No,
I want Seth Curry.
They were talking. He's with the Dallas Mavericks.
I want him.
He's not going to leave them.
They were talking. Did we talk about Morris? They were talking about Morris.
Marcus Morris, but he's not going anywhere. He's averaging 19 points for the Knicks. He's not going anywhere. But let's talk about Luka Doncic and Giannis. They're leading the MVP vote, or not the MVP, the All-Star vote. They're dominating that.
Giannis is just a freak.
He's
one. You'll never see something like that again.
I think it's like the first time ever that two foreign people are leading in the MVP, the All-Star vote.
It's cool.
Luka, on the other hand, I heard this from 105 to 3 to fan. I got to give them credit. He had his 11th triple-double the other night. He's first in the league. He has 9 triple-doubles of 30 points. The rest of the league combined has 8. So he has 9 by himself of 30-point triple-doubles. The rest of the league has 8. In the NBA... God, I hate when I write my notes like this.
We really don't have shooters. I mean, Joel Embiid is leading us with 23 points. I mean, that's it. I mean, like, Tobias Harris has 19. After that, it just drops.
In the NBA this year, there's 9 33-plus points, triple-doubles. This year, Luka alone has 7 of them by himself. LeBron James has 1, and James Harden each have the other.
Luka and those Jordans.
He's the youngest player to have back-to-back 35-plus triple-doubles. Yeah, you know what? This guy is a beast. And you know what?
Did you see that one guy that came out and said he's better than that Hall of Fame Dallas player that they've had forever?
The only thing I didn't like what Stephen A. said the other day, and I don't like the whole race thing. I don't like bringing it up. But he said Luka Doncic is probably the best white person ever since Larry Bird. Why do you got to throw race into it? Why do you got to throw color? Yeah. Because if it was,
I guess if you're comparing, just say he's I don't know the best.
But it's shit like that starts controversies. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I guess
he's the best player in the NBA.
I guess if he's trying to compare, yeah, never mind. When he said since Larry Bird, then you're clearly specifying because he's white. But I mean, I don't know.
It's stuff like that. It irritates me because you know you don't need to say that. We're in a world right now of soft people, man. You say the wrong thing, and people want to get freaking fired up about it. Yeah. But Luka Doncic, he's been having a great season. The Dallas Mavericks, I think, are 5th or 6th in the standings. You know, he played the whole sneaker deal perfect. You know, wearing different shoes each night.
If Jordan want to give me a sponsorship, I'd be like, yeah.
So you know, he played that great. He's having a great year. He's a great leader. He's young. That's the thing. I think he's like 21.
He's very young.
He's young. He's got so much experience. Just let's trade him. Trade him to the Sixers for Ben Simmons.
That's an interesting one. Give us a poll vote on that one. Would you rather have Simmons or Luka?
But the other night, also in the NBA, Vince Carter made history. He's became the first player in the NBA to play in his 4th different decade. He signed a 1-year deal with the Atlanta Hawks to play in this 22nd season, surpassing the members of the 21st season club: Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, Kevin Wilson, Robert Parrish.
That's like you playing the NBA right now. Could you imagine you playing?
There's 36 players who have played at least 1 minute in the NBA this season who weren't even born when Carter made his debut.
I remember Giannis did him dirty early in the season, dunked over him, and then stepped over. Yeah. Give us your hockey 1 minute, and then we'll get ready to wrap this podcast up.
This is for Brad. Last night, the Rangers won 6-3 over the Devils. Tony DeAngelo recorded his first career hat trick.
Hockey hot
and had 2 assists. The Lightning topped the Coyotes 4-0 for their 9th consecutive victory. Nikita Kucherov had 2 goals in that game.
This is why we don't do hockey.
Yeah, hockey's tough.
It's tough.
The Predators won 5-2 over the Blackhawks. John Hines gets his first win with the team. Pekka Rinne he had 29 saves. He became the 12th goalie in NFL history to have a goal. He actually shot one end to the other on an open netter. And then the Flyers. The Flyers finally have some good news. They bounced back after their rough road.
It's about
road.
time.
I mean, they're giving up like 4 goals in the first quarter a game. They won 3-2 with Kevin Head's goal. Now they go on to play the Hot Lightning. And some quick notes about the Flyers, quick before we get going. The Flyers are 14-2-4 at home. They have the 8th ranked power play conversion rate of 23.6%, and on the road it's only 14%, 9th worst. Penalty kill at home has been one of the driving forces for the team. They're killing at 87.1%, and there's only where am I at? On the road there's 77.1%. So it's a big difference between home and away. The only teams that have more goals at home than the Flyers are Tampa Bay and Colorado. Flyers are averaging 3.75 goals, and on the road they're only averaging 2.5, which is 22nd in the league. So the Flyers got to wake up, man. Flyers and the Sixers, man, they got to get hot.
And that is your hockey 2-minute.
It was rough. What are you going to do? I don't have my glasses on.
I need glasses.
What are you going to do?
Well, I think that was pretty good. I think we nailed that one on the ballpark today.
Well, we haven't had a guest in a while, and guys, believe me.
We're hoping for one soon.
Yeah,
Hoping for 2.
The thing about guests is, our name is out there. We have a couple people that say, yeah, they're interested, and then
We actually have potentially 3.
I tell you what.
The one.
Yeah.
The one.
Yeah.
That girl.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to give you a little stinker here. If we
don't.
get this one on, she was a UFC champion not too long ago. It's going to be amazing to get her on.
Gotta give him that.
Stacey Vega, let's go.
Yeah, to give him that.
Get us going in the right direction here. And we have another one too, a Dallas insider. And if I can get him on, man, that'd be my best one. So we'll see what we can do. We keep hitting them, keep getting them, get them to answer us, and it's just a matter of setting up the times.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. It will be up on, it's not iTunes, by the way. I corrected myself. I have an iPhone now, so I now understand it's not iTunes, it's iTunes Podcast. So we'll be on the podcast app, and then we'll be on Spotify, Google Music. We'll get it up on YouTube also, because we're still videotaping. As you can see, my little Star Wars poor gray here. But we hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and we will see you guys next time.